Hey all, thanks so much for joining today's webinar, focused on the trust economy, how we win trust in 2025. And today I'm joined by Tessa.
Hi, I'm Tessa, and I am a Senior Customer Success Manager at Zendesk. And I'm thrilled to be joined today not only by Steph, but by Rhon from Fortnum Mason.
Hi, I'm Rhon, Head of Customer Success at Fortnum Mason. I also look after our customer services team, and I've just hit my 5-year mark with the company this month. It's been an absolutely amazing journey so far, working across several different teams to elevate how we support and connect with our customers. I'm really passionate about turning customer service into a trust building powerhouse. That's what I call it, a powerhouse, where every touch point is smart, seamless, and genuinely helpful. My focus is on blending human empathy with tech-driven efficiencies to create experiences that scale without losing that personal touch.
Thanks, Ryan. It's so great to have you. And I love that idea of the powerhouse as well. I'm going to take that one internally. So today's webinar, we're going to focus on 3 key areas. We're going to look at the trust economy and why trust is so important this year and beyond. We'll talk through elevating the customer experience, so Trustpilot and Zendesk, and then we'll hear from Rhon on the customer case study of Fortnum and Mason. So let's get started. So trust is a really interesting concept and becoming more relevant by the day, especially with kind of consumer choice increasing. We've got the rise of AI, and then consumers are also tightening their spending habits. But with that in mind, it's interesting to see that 93% of business executives agree that building and maintaining trust improves the bottom line. But we have a problem, and it's known as the trust gap. So 90% of business executives think customers highly trust their company, but only 30% of consumers actually do. So this was a study done by PwC and really shows that we have a trust gap, and that is continuing to grow between what business executives think and what consumers actually believe. And we want to try and shrink this gap as much as possible. But now let's talk through the state of customer service in the UK, because I think it brings the trust gap to spotlight through the research we've done. So we recently conducted research with 2,000 UK consumers earlier this year, and it really shows a tale of two experiences. So 47% of UK consumers say that they've had a poor experience in the last year, and 15% believe customer service standards are continuing to decline. And that's quite a big issue if that's what you're known for as your customer service, but you're not meeting the expectation of consumers. London had the highest percentage of amazing customer experience at 73%, while Northern Ireland had the highest percentage of poor customer experience. And I think this just kind of shows how polarized this customer service landscape is, and also the need that you need to keep improving and keep maintaining your service standards to meet the increasing demand of consumers. But what really matters to consumers now? So that same survey, we asked consumers what they would like to see businesses improve on and focus on not only this year, but into next year. Consumers are increasingly valuing the ability to speak to a human over a chatbot. And in fact, 61% would like to see more human interactions. That's a top priority, along with kind of receiving a timely response to queries that came in at 54% and getting products delivered on time at 45%. A significant 21% of the respondents cited reliance on AI chatbots as the reason for their worst customer service experiences. And only 10% of consumers want to see an increased use of AI in customer service. And this figure is high for Gen Zs and millennials. So I think this is really around how do you balance kind of becoming more efficient, automating, but also kind of keeping that human touch. And that's why we're currently facing an AI paradox.
What is this AI paradox? The role of AI today is no secret to consumers. They're aware that it's being adopted by businesses to enhance and evolve their experience. Here's what we know. AI is a strategic imperative for businesses to remain competitive. Organizations are using AI. Those that have been using AI for over a year are 1.6 times more likely to have a competitive edge. We also know consumers want faster, more personalized service, both of which are strengths of AI. However, as Steph pointed out, there's still this strong preference for human interaction, which leads to this AI paradox. But the solution is not replacing humans with AI, it's augmenting them. So AI can handle these routine tasks, freeing up human agents to solve more complex problems and provide empathetic reactions and high value interactions.
So this is where the Trustpilot and Zendesk integration comes into play. We offer a seamless advantage, getting feedback to action. So the integration bridges the gap between public-facing and internal operations. Trustpilot automatically invites customers to write a review after a purchase, gathering valuable verified feedback. Reviews are then turned into Zendesk tickets, allowing you to manage and respond to feedback directly from your primary CX platform. AI-powered responses can be suggested, ensuring consistent and efficient replies to public feedback as well. But let's kind of chat through the scale of the Trustpilot ecosystem first. So there are now over 301 million reviews on the platform, with a new review submitted every second. With over 47 million monthly visitors, Trustpilot now firmly sits in the top 1% of websites globally. We also did some research recently, and it really showed a clear picture for the UK that trust signals really matter. 89% say that star ratings and reviews influence which products or services they choose, and 82% say that a strong Trustpilot score makes them more likely to trust a brand. The research also showed that brand recall was 13% higher for consumers who had seen an ad featuring Trustpilot than those that had seen the brand without Trustpilot featured. So if you're looking to maximize your marketing channels and your brand affinity, that's a really great place to get started. So reviews aren't just a nice to have anymore for businesses, they're a must have, as that is where consumers are going to find out information on your brand, determine if they trust you, and that what you say and promise, you actually live up to it.
So what does the Zendesk Trustpilot integration look like? There's a few key elements of it. The primary function of the integration is to allow businesses to manage all of their Trustpilot service and product reviews directly from their Zendesk account. So this eliminates the need for agents to log into Trustpilot or to switch back and forth between systems. Customers are also nudged to provide feedback at key points throughout their journey. And then new reviews on Trustpilot automatically appear in Zendesk as tickets. This streamlines the customer service workflow and ensures that no review is missed. And then users can read reviews within the Zendesk ticket and reply to it directly within the comment box. This response is then published publicly on Trustpilot, and the system only displays the most recent response if there are multiple responses displayed. And then tags and review data are used to gather a more holistic view of customers, their key desires, behaviors, and any segmentation accuracy. You'll hear from one of our fabulous customers that uses the integration to turbocharge their CX shortly, but in the meantime, let me walk you through it. So as we mentioned earlier, service and product reviews left on Trustpilot by customers appear in Zendesk as tickets. So when setting up the integration, users can choose which reviews to sync based on either specific domains, review ratings, review tags, or product reviews. You also have the option to sync unanswered reviews from a specific time period, which can be really helpful if businesses want to import reviews that were posted before the integration was installed or updated. Agents can respond to reviews directly from the Zendesk platform. So the integration is designed to keep all customer communication, including reviews, in a single centralized location. So this helps to improve agent efficiency as they can use the familiar Zendesk ticketing system to handle customer feedback. There's even an additional feature that enables role and group restrictions where admins can manage end user roles and groups within Zendesk that have access to the integration. So this allows for controlled access and ensures that only authorized agents can reply to reviews. And then responses left by agents appear publicly on Trustpilot. And by analyzing data within Zendesk reporting and analytics tools, you're easily able to identify recurring themes, common product issues, and areas where customer service can be improved. Your agents are also able to collect non-public feedback that fuels smarter decisions and a deeper understanding of your customers. And while the Zendesk and Trustpilot integration outwardly demonstrates to your customers that you care, it's important that you're infusing trustworthiness in every stage of your CX strategy, especially with this rise of AI. So AI makes life smoother for agents and customers alike. It's a tool that helps move businesses from doing more with less to doing better with a more strategic focus. But it's important that businesses protect themselves and their customers with a good AI governance policy. So research shows that a recent Gartner study shows that only 20% of organizations have an established generative AI governance strategy. So customers, as we discussed already, are increasingly aware of how AI is being used in their interactions, and their willingness to engage hinges on whether they feel respected, protected, and understood. So after this webinar, we'd love to share with you 2 reports that are essential reading for CX leaders looking to build and maintain trust in today's changing tech landscape. So the Zendesk AI effect, which teaches you how other CX leaders are improving in several key areas. Service quality, where 86% of CX leaders report improved customer satisfaction scores, and 91% report enhanced service quality with Zendesk AI. In productivity, where agents save an average of 6.8 hours per week, which can be reinvested into high-value tasks. And ROI, where 85% of CX leaders see measurable cost reductions and 84% report new revenue streams enabled by AI. And then the second reading is the Trust Gap Report. So this will give you tips on how to infuse that trustworthiness at every stage of your strategy. So trust is not just a technical issue, it's a strategic imperative. So it boils down to explainability, fairness, and user control in building trustworthy AI systems. And we're on side to help give you tips on how to stay transparent, secure, and ensure the customer is at the center of everything that you do. So Fortnum Mason has been a customer of Zendesk since 2019 and have made incredible progress in their customer trust score. They're really an example to us all on how we should be looking at customer reviews, trust, and loyalty as drivers for the business. Rhon, would you be able to walk us through this journey?
Absolutely. And thank you very much for allowing me to talk about our journey with Trustpilot at Fortnum Mason. So just to set the scene, when we first started looking at Trustpilot reviews, our score was sitting at about 1.8. To be honest, it was 1.6 after Christmas of 2019. And honestly, that was a really tough pill for us to swallow. For us as a business, it wasn't just a low number. It was a reflection of how our customers honestly and organically felt about us. And in today's world where trust is everything, we knew that we had to act, and we had to act quickly. One of the most important decisions we made was to stop treating reviews as an afterthought and instead build them into the heart of our customer experience. We integrated Trustpilot directly into one of our platforms called Magento, and we connected this with Zendesk so that every piece of feedback could become part of an actionable loop for us, and not just something that marketing looked at once a month, reviewed, and really didn't do anything in particular with. And can we have the next slide? So this shift changed everything. I mean, we had to bring our executive team on board, but we also had to bring our team on board as well. Proactively going out and soliciting reviews from our customers is quite scary. And the question was, what if they're all bad? Well, then we need to know that, because that's what customers are truly feeling at that time. So we started requesting reviews at the right moments in the customer journey. We responded to negative reviews quickly, often turning them into support tickets. And one of the things that I say to my team, I said to my team along this journey, is the most dangerous review is the one that hasn't been written yet. So we can't act on what we don't know. So it's great that we're getting this feedback and to use it positively and to embrace it. Next slide. And just as importantly, as I said, we celebrated the positive reviews internally. I've worked in customer services a very long time. And, a lot of what we have to deal with is negative feedback from customers. And this gave our teams real-time visibility into the impact they were making. And don't underestimate when somebody is mentioned by name in a review as going above and beyond and delivering excellent levels of customer services. What a great tonic that is for that individual. And, we build that into sort of like gamification for the team so that we can use Trustpilot fantastic reviews about individuals in a way to reward them for best practice. So, I mean, that's absolutely amazing. And just going on this journey, we moved our Trustpilot score from 1.8, really it was 1.6, to 4.3, soon to be 4.4 on the 29th of September, according to the Trustpilot algorithm. But for me, I think the real story isn't the number, it's the transformation of how we view our customers' voices internally as a business. My CEO says to me that the first thing he does when he wakes up in the morning is he checks the Trustpilot score. And I think that for me is success, that everybody has been brought on the journey with us. And instead of fearing feedback, we embrace it. And that has changed how customers see us too. And I would just say, responding fast shows you care. but resolving shows that you were right, that the customer was right to trust you in the first place to do the right thing. Next slide. So this is just a framework that I put together, and it's just 3 steps to turn reviews into trust. And it's as broad as it's long, and it's it's not particularly profound, but it's what really worked for us. So the first thing obviously is to automate the ask. Stop waiting for customers to leave reviews. When we waited for customers to leave reviews, organic reviews, 1.6% rating on Trustpilot, and they were all negative. Automate the process, ask for reviews at the right moment, because that consistency beats the occasional spike that you might get. Act on every voice. Every review, positive or negative, can become a trigger in Zendesk. And you create tickets for negative feedback reviews to respond fast. We respond when we can, outside of peak, to all feedback, be it positive or negative, because I believe that a customer that said you've done a great job also deserves a thank you. And we share positive reviews with the team, as I've said, to reinforce great behavior and create joy, because they really, really do create joy. And just amplify your transparency by responding publicly, by owning our mistakes, and show that we're willing to change and we're willing to improve. And this transparency has helped build credibility with us. And customers now will, and good thing or bad thing, will come directly to us if they have a problem, rather than putting a negative review, because they know that we've built that affinity, we've built that trust, that we listen to them, and that we're going to absolutely do the right thing for them every single time. So, it's been a fantastic journey, but incredibly rewarding for us as a business as well. Next slide. So what does the future hold? I mean, there's a fantastic quote there from me, but I think here's the bigger picture that I want to share today. Customer reviews aren't just marketing assets or reputation management tools. They're one of the most authentic signals of trust you'll ever get. When you integrate them into your customer experience with platforms like Trustpilot, Zendesk, through other platforms like Magento, you stop reacting to feedback and you start to use it to build real solid relationships with your customers. And in my opinion, that's the future of customer experience, building trust, just one interaction at a time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rhon. I absolutely love the story you kind of shared. So thank you for being so open with your journey and where you want to be. I really like hearing that it's kind of embedded at every level of the organization, like your CEO checks, the reviews and probably obsesses over them as well. But it's also a really nice touch, I think, rewarding people based off, when they receive a great review or great feedback. I think that's such an important cultural driver to embed that internally. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Right, we will now go to questions. So if you would like to leave a question, you can use the question functionality on the side of kind of go to webinar. If we don't have time to go through every question, we will make sure we follow up with you individually post the webinar. Someone will get in touch either from Trustpilot or Zendesk or potentially both. So we will make sure that we answer. But to kick things off, I actually have a question for you, Rhon. Your story has kind of, really resonated with a few people, but you mentioned kind of a shift in mindset to proactively seek out kind of feedback, turn potentially negative feedback into positive interactions as well. How can other businesses, particularly those potentially in different industries, adopt this mindset? What are the key kind of performance indicators they should track to measure success beyond things like ticket resolution time?
Turning a negative feedback into positive, it's adopting the mindset. It's really adopting the mindset. So you normalize this as a feedback loop. It's not in addition to, it's not, oh, we've got customer complaints and then we've got reviews. They're all one. And we should be always encouraging customers to share their negative experiences, whether they're good or bad, whether that's through NPS, whether that's through CSAT, whether that's through Trustpilot, whether that's through Google reviews. Our ambition as a business is to solicit all of this feedback, because we want it all, because we know that it's going to help us shape our business for the future. We're looking at post-interaction surveys ourselves, review platforms, or just direct outreach. We have many other platforms because we have hospitality, we have retail. So there's 7 Rooms, there's Top Table, there's Yelp, there's customers leaving reviews about us all the time. And, they leave a review and nobody ever goes back. And my ambition is that every single customer that has given us the opportunity to feed back to them, to contact them, whether it be through review or contacting us proactively, deserves a response. And the other thing is you have to respond with empathy and transparency. I think that's really important. So our approach includes personalized responses on Trustpilot. We don't, you know, before we went on this journey, I spent a lot of time just looking at how other businesses on Trustpilot responded and how that resonated with their customers. And I felt like customers are very wise and they're very savvy. If you're just cut and pasting the same response to them over and over again, they'll soon cotton on to that and they won't like that. So I think it's about trying to personalize the experience for the customer as much as you can. And we have about 10 to 15 different templates which we can rotate through. I have a dedicated team who respond on Trustpilot because it's customer facing, and I trust them to adapt those responses and personalize them in their own way. And that really, really works well for us. You have to acknowledge shortcomings and show appreciation for feedback. And that's really important because I feel that, you know, if we make excuses, the customers are not going to be happy with that. If we say we're really sorry, it shouldn't have happened, and we really appreciate you telling us about your awful experience, and this is what we're going to do to resolve it. You don't need to labour the point. You just need to give a nod to the fact that they've done this or they've come to you because they're not happy. Close the loop publicly. I'm not a great believer in taking people offline, and only if it's you know, a defamation or something negative about a particular employee who's named personally would we ever consider taking anything off. But other than that, we honestly respond publicly, and it also builds trust. And you know, we're always looking at about key metrics. We look at customer shift sentiment. You know, has that, after we leave, a customer leaves a negative review and we interact with them and we resolve it, we ask, would they like to revisit their review? There's no pressure, but we track the tone and sentiment to see if they were less angry in the response, you know, and what kind of words they used, etc. So that's a good way to track feedback. And our net promoter score, we also look at other outside factors. We use a lot of we're starting to use more and more the analytics within Trustpilot itself, which are really, really great to just look at tone and sentiment across many different areas, but also see where those pinch points are, where the pain points are, what customers like, what they don't like. Because it's not just about fixing the reviews, fixing the business. I always say fix the fundamentals and the business will take care of itself. So we can use that data to go back and look at all the things that are not working well for our customers within the business and make those changes. So it doesn't have to be us saying, we've done this review. They can actually see it through the actions that we take as a result of them giving us their feedback. So that's a very long-winded answer to your question.
No, that's an amazing answer. And I think some really practical advice for people to take on no matter what industry, where they are in kind of collecting kind of customer feedback. I think that's, you know, it applies to every business and a really great starting point. I think we have time for one more question. Something that comes up quite a lot is kind of, you know, at what point do you ask for a review? You know, we've got a lot of kind of, you also send out NPS, or you might have other kind of mechanisms of customer feedback. How do we not overwhelm kind of consumers as well? I think kind of from my standpoint, I think it's a great question that has come through. So thank you so much for submitting it. I think from my standpoint, it's really kind of mapping out your customer journey and thinking through those really critical moments of where you can ask for a review. You want to ask for it at the right time. So if you are having a product delivered, you know, you don't want to ask for it before it gets to your customer. You want to kind of make sure it's post delivery. Maybe they've had a few days to use it. Or it might be kind of straight after or 24 hours after a service kind of interaction as well. But really for me, you know, we always kind of recommend mapping out that customer journey and thinking through what are those touch points throughout. What are those moments where they've actually interacted with your brand, where you want feedback? And then thinking through how do you kind of incorporate all your other kind of avenues of customer kind of feedback collection as well. And I think it's fine to, you know, many businesses partner NPS and kind of Trustpilot reviews. The way I like to think about it is one is very much an internal measurement that you don't really kind of publicly go out and say, but that's a nice pulse. And then you've got your reviews, which are your verified publicly facing, I think kind of trust signals of your brand where other consumers can go and find and make purchase decisions based off that. So it's not about one or the other, it's about balancing both and really kind of mapping out the customer journey. But Rhon, I don't know if you have anything more to add to that.
Yeah, I would say that as a business, what we do, we ask different questions at different touch points with different customers. So we're not asking the same question of our customers all the time. we have a peak in Fortnum and Mason, so we do 75% of our business in sort of 3 months of the year. So all year round, we would probably send out invitations to review every 4 weeks, and at peak we extend that a bit. So we're mindful of the fact that, you know, Christmas can be a real stressful time for customers. It's all about gifting, and we are all about gifting as a business, and people want to know, has the parcel got there? Where is it in the journey? Has that person received it? So bombarding them with another form of communication from our business, when we're communicating with them a lot across many different platforms, maybe a bit of overkill. So, you know, you have to kind of look at your business. One size doesn't fit all. That's what I would say. And this is a process that's taken us about a year to get right. And we feel that, you know, you have to look at the rhythm of your business, you know, your peaks and your troughs, when you're busiest, how many parcels we're sending out, etc., etc., and what we're asking our customers to review. But the fantastic thing that we found is that our customers love to talk about us. They truly, truly love to talk about us. I don't think I've ever received a negative response to a customer being asked for a review. All they'll do is not fill it in. That simply is that. Simple as that. I think our conversion rate is about 6% at the moment, which is which is above the benchmark of 4%, you know, so we're doing really, really well. And, you know, they'll open the email. If they don't want to respond, they won't respond. They're not going to respond and say, why did you send this to me? They just won't respond. And I think that's what we've got to get used to, you know, because what we're saying is, tell us about it. And the ratings from a 1 to a 5. So we're not just giving them no opportunity to tell us what they truly feel. We are. And I think that's the difference.
I love that mentality of kind of just getting started and just asking. It's so true. If consumers don't want to leave a review, they won't. But you're in a far better position to ask for one, because we know that when you do ask, you are more likely to get a review as well. So thank you for that. I think that's really, again, you know, really kind of thinking through those touch points, the customer journey, asking, and I think customers love to give feedback as well. They love to share positive experiences. And
I think that's really true, Steph. And I think, you know, with Trustpilot, you don't just switch it on and leave it and expect that it's going to take care of itself. You know, I mean, it does to a certain extent, because it does exactly what it says on the tin, but it's you're the engine, and you drive the change, and you have to look at the feedback, the mechanism, the people that you've got managing. I like to rotate people in and out. I like to have fresh perspectives all the time. And I think that, as I say, you have to look at it as a work stream, and not just as something that bumbles along in the background, because sooner or later customers will pick up on the fact that you're not engaging with them, you're not being authentic, you're not being honest, and that will detrimentally affect the quality of the reviews that they will leave for you.
I couldn't have said it better myself. You summed that up so nicely. It's all about kind of building trust, and this is the avenue to do it as well. So thank you, Rhon, for that.